If they tell you that we don't want you anymore, then you don't want to work with that company. Usually it's like this. Okay, so how much do you want? I'm senior, I want 150,000 a year. Well, that's a bit out of our budget. What is your budget? What is your range? This is our range. Okay, so I see where you're coming from, but have you considered these things? This is my experience. I can do these kind of things. I think it's going to be an investment for your company. I'm going to help you grow this area and area, whatever.
Hey everyone, welcome to Victory 3D for another episode of Final Render. We have an amazing artist here today. He has over 15 years of experience working in the game industry. He had worked on popular titles such as Call of Duty, Ghost of Tsushima, and Borderlands. He also has his own mentorship program called Edge Loop, where he's able to help students get to the top tier level and inspire them to become better artists. Please welcome Siamak R. Hey Siamak, thank you for joining me here today. Man,
Thank you for having me here today.
Oh yeah, man. Love to see your beard here anytime. The only artist who could rock that beard, man. That's what it is. So I was watching one of your videos. I think it was like a month ago. You came out with a stream on how to get a job in the game industry. Yeah, that's what I was watching. It was like a month ago. And you mentioned that maybe 30 years from now that art might be automated. If that's the case, what
sooner.
Okay, in 20 years or 10 years?
No, yeah, I think sooner.
20 years or 20 years, 10 years?
Look, I mean, imagine this. In 20 years, how far, if you look at the growth of the games, they have changed a lot. Mm-hmm. Like the quality of the games went from just a bunch of polygons, 200 polys per character to super realistic and amazing characters or weapons. Everything is functional, and we haven't even seen what they can do in this generation. PS5, new NVIDIA GPUs, Xbox, and even next generation. Imagine everything goes into the cloud, right? Mm-hmm. And everything becomes super realistic. AI is growing fast. Machine learning, all these new technologies coming in, and so it could be a scary when I look at it, but also it could be good.
Yeah.
Because if you look at like as an example, if you look at web developing, at some point it was a thing that only people with specific skills could only develop websites, right? Now you can use WordPress and do whatever you want yourself without any knowledge. Just search, how can I make a website, right? Mm-hmm. And then use WordPress. How do I use WordPress? You watch a video specifically for that. How do I make 2 pages on my website? It shows you how to do that. So everything is out there. You can search and figure out how to do it. I think similar thing is going to happen for art in the game industry. It's kind of happening. It scans. Mm-hmm. Almost no one is making characters anymore, like anatomy and stuff, except like if it's how do I say, like monsters and humanoids.
If it's like creative, right?
Yeah, more creative, more creatures, right? Or face. We don't make faces anymore.
Yeah, so
it's just not from scratch, right? It just, you take the scan, and that's how studios prefer, because it helps with the production. They have the actor can talk and they can record it. Everything is working well together in the pipeline. So, yeah, go ahead. Do you want to?
Yeah. So let's say that if they were to do a creature, and let's say AI is taking over, right, in about 10 years or maybe sooner, right? And even with the creature, maybe you don't really have to do it from scratch, sculpting from scratch. Can you just like there will be a time when you could just draw it on paper. The concept artist will just draw everything in a Photoshop or paint it in Photoshop, and then that 3D software will just create it straight from that 2D.
Honestly, when it comes to science, I think everything is possible, right? The things that we are doing today with our phone, 10 years ago, you can make a living just having your phone with you, right? So AI is growing. I think there will be a time that this is like what scientists are saying, that humans will be just around and have fun. Robots will do everything. AI will do everything. Yeah. But I mean, for the art side, my feeling is nowadays concept artists are trying to use 3D applications to sculpt directly. to sculpt the concept in ZBrush or another sculpting application. So it's not like before that they used to draw only by hand. They used to do photos, put it together, draw on it, and make a bunch of changes that add design and stuff. Or they used now basically I worked with a lot of concept artists. They use 3D applications. They provide the base and then you sculpt on top of it. So I think the shift is, besides scans taking over, AI's taking over a bunch of things. Now imagine like they're scanning a lot of environment assets, and the environment artists are changing. They're not like they used to be. You can make a game without having an environment artist now if you're a small studio, basically, right? With the ready assets out there, because they scan it to prepare. You can just buy it and put it in every game you want.
So you think,
I think for this part, I want to answer your question on that section.
Go ahead.
For characters, I think my feeling is it's going to be less technical in the future, and more artistic. And I think my feeling is like at some point as a character artist, it should change from just making a character from a concept to someone who designs a character, and application will help you, AI will help you to create the texture, which is Substance Painter is doing, right? Technically it's half AI. You just drop a mask and it just a smart mask, and it adds all the details and stuff. You have to work on it by hand too, but it's much easier than 10 years ago. And imagine how far it can go 10 years from now. Substance Painter, it's been out there for 6, 7, 8 years or whatever. In such a short time Substance Painter changed the industry. So I think my feeling is like it's gonna change towards a direction that character artists would actually be more creative, so they won't have to worry too much about the technical side. I'll give you an example. Rendering. You remember how, I don't know, like 15 years ago, 12 years ago, I remember I was trying to render with mental ray.
Right.
Now you can just texture something in Substance Painter and drop it in Marmoset. It's so easy to render. Or directly with iRay in Substance Painter, you can just render quickly.
Everything's just so much faster. So
faster, more artistic, less technical.
Okay, so you think that the job for 3D artists is gonna be more on the concept art side, right? They have to learn how to design and do concept art. Because a lot of the job, especially that outsourced studios are working, there are a lot of outsourced studios in cheaper areas in the world. It's becoming a global market right now. It could be a bad thing, could be a good thing. It's hard to say, because you can outsource a lot of the technical side, like low res as an example, making the low res. You outsource it to a company. It takes less money, less stress, and then they finish it, they send it to you. You can just focus on the artistic side in the studio. So in the future, if they come up with something to solve those problems, I don't know how long it's going to take for AI. I'm not an AI specialist, right? But it's growing fast. If it grows this way, I think in the next 10 years, AI is going to create everything, right? It's like everything else, AI is going to control everything. Well, we need universal basic income coming soon.
Well, I mean, if robots work for you, then you don't need to have any of that. You just buy a robot and then put him in the market. It works. Tesla actually came out with something.
Well, since people are not gonna have jobs anymore because AI is gonna take over. I mean, how are they gonna feed their family, right? So universal basic income could be something.
I was actually reading something because I'm into a lot of scientific stuff that Tesla is doing now. Tesla is making a robot. Yeah. Humanoid robot. Yeah. Or Boston Dynamics. I don't know if you saw the robots that they're jumping around and doing.
Okay. What is the robot is going to do? What's the purpose of that?
It's gonna work for you. We are not meant to work. That's the thing. How many people are happy working every day for a job, and then they don't have time to do the things they want to do, right? So that's a problem that needs to get solved. We haven't solved it as human beings yet. So imagine like you just have a robot, you invest in a robot, the robot does everything for you, and then you just do whatever you want.
I mean, how many people could actually afford their own robot to do stuff for them?
That's the
Do the dishes,
question. I
man.
mean, yeah. I mean, well, I mean that's something. I mean, yeah, if we survive as human beings, I think that's how the future is going to be. We are going to evolve, right? Like imagine in the past there was no ZBrush to make characters. Everything was sculpted by hand. They used to do molds and stuff for VFX and films, make characters with silicons and masks and stuff. Now those jobs are not. They don't make as much money, or it's changed. Everything is turning into VFX or games, right?
Right.
And now even games are taking over everything, slowly shifting. Movies are. I kind of feel like games are the future, especially the real-time rendering. So
yeah, like for the.
But again, when I say it's the future, when I think about it, it's hard to say where, because I haven't seen the wages grow on the artist sides. Like companies are paying the same thing or less comparing to 2009, 2008 when I was working,
kind of
right?
sad, actually.
2012. Yeah, it is. But the thing is, it's shifting, so it's changing. I kind of feel like there's a change coming. Because the last time we had a crash in the gaming industry was in 1983. And the game industry crashed because every company was trying to just make games. It was the new thing. Everyone was like, oh, let's make games and we are going to make money. There was a lot of different consoles, different names. Everybody was coming out with a new game studio. They used to make a game in 6 weeks, 8 weeks. And there was a game, I forgot the name. It was so bad that they had to like collect all the the cartridges. You remember how you used to have different. It was a disc,
oh my
right?
God.
So yeah, they had to collect all of those and dump it in a like buried under the ground in Texas somewhere. So the last time we had a crash was in 1983, and then the cycle started coming back again 1985, I guess. And then I remember I started playing games in 1992, 91. I was 6 or 7 years old. And then since then, I haven't seen the game industry going down. It's always going up for the past like 30 years.
Yeah.
So that's a long cycle. It's been going on forever. And then if you look at the games now, it sounds like the industry is shifting a bit. Everyone is making games to make profit. But it's easier to make games again. Anyone can make a game. Like if you have a team of 5 people, you can make a game. So production is becoming faster and faster.
Right.
And it's becoming easier to make games. And that's a bad sign to me. It's a good sign because there's like, if you use it for creativity, but it's a bad sign. If everyone is doing something, that's a sign of crash. So when I say crash, I don't mean like it's going to get destroyed and whatever. It's going to flush, right? It's going to change the market. And then those who are really creative, maybe some of the big companies out there could just get wiped out or shift into something else. Maybe new companies, new indie game companies that will come out with more interesting games. Honestly, I haven't played any interesting games for the past like 2 years. I actually haven't played games because I don't have time. But when I look at it, I'm like, what can I play? I can't buy a PS5. There's a chip shortage, right? That's another thing, shortages. So I think a change is coming overall. Something is going to change.
Not even like VR. You don't play any of those virtual reality headsets.
I had one. I bought the first one, HTC Vive, in 2015. I used it 2 weeks, and I'm like, no, it's not for me. Yeah, because it wasn't. There's nothing for it to play. A bunch of games, but it's not. It's. I think it's very early right now.
Yeah, the quality is not as good, of course.
No. Yeah, and it's not comfortable. It's early. There are a lot of issues, just like how games were made in the beginning, right? And then PS1 came out and changed the market. Nintendo actually changed the market. Market crashed in 1983. And then a lot of companies went out of business. The market value dropped from I forgot the number. It was small at the time, 300 million to 3 million or something like that. Like it was just gone. Game industry was gone, didn't exist. And then Nintendo came and they changed everything.
Yeah.
And then Sony with PlayStation, right?
Right.
And then it's been going on and on and on. But now I think something has to change. Something has to change.
What do you think?
I don't feel like it with this trajectory.
Yeah, like see, you have smaller companies could make almost as good quality as probably the AAA games because of the free engines that you could use.
They can make, yes, but also look. I mean, big companies have a lot of money, but they don't have. What they don't have is they can't risk. They cannot come up with. They can come up with new ideas, but you know when they say in business when you have an idea, when it works, you have to keep going until you exhaust the idea. Use it as much as you can, right? So if you look at the big companies, except a few of them that they're doing really good titles, you know, like God of War as an example. Every time they release a new God of War, it's better than before. It's getting better and better. Idea is refreshed. There's like, you know, they're very innovative. It's different comparing to I don't want to name another game, but
yeah, I remember.
But you can see there are.
Like the game trailers. I remember watching the game trailers. Like, oh, is the gameplay gonna look like that? And then when you play the video game, the actual video game, oh my god, this does not look nothing like the cinematic, you know. But maybe in the future, it's gonna look more similar to the cinematic, right?
I mean, that's how it should be. Like the computer power, computing power is going up, and the AI is going to help. Quality is increasing. I'm pretty sure the future will be really nice games and stuff. But right now, it's not interesting. Right now, it's just they're exhausting the same ideas. They're making the same games over and over. There are less innovation comparing to what you know they used to make in the past, right?
Yeah, because back in the past, everything is like new. So
yeah, exactly. Everything is new. Now it's like, okay, so let's make the same game we made 2 years ago, but we can change it a bit, and it's hard to change. So it's not. I think some people blame the companies. It's not to blame them because I mean, obviously, it's hard to run a big company like that. It costs a lot of money, a lot of stress, and for the people that are playing the games, for them it's just like playing games. For those who work in the companies, they just want to enjoy working on the game, or it's a job or whatever reason. The guys that are basically, you know, running the companies, they have a duty to bring in profit besides making a game. So if it's harder to become innovative, to take risks. You know what I mean?
But if you think about it, you know, we are used to those kind of games. We don't want to play the same games. But for the next generation, it's kind of new to them because, you know, somebody who's born in 2000 or 2010.
Actually, that's another thing. No, that's the thing. The new generation is also changing. The new generation doesn't want to play the game we play. Yeah. I mean, there was some data I was reading actually. New generation is changing, especially with the mobiles. You know, with the the game Roblox. That game made a lot of money. Like it's insane. Let me actually check.
Roblox or Minecraft. Well, I guess something that allows them to.
Yeah, Minecraft.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not. It's hard to find it. It says June 454 million.
Jeez.
June 2021.
Goodness.
This is for Roblox. I'm seeing it on Google. So that's insane, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's income. I'm not sure if I'm looking at the correct data. People can search for themselves. But it's making a lot of money. Or what was the other game you said?
Minecraft.
Minecraft, yes. Very like there are actually YouTubers. There's a YouTube channel called Dream, I think, plays Minecraft, and this guy has 2 billion views. He has 26 million followers. It's like a company, you know. People just watch someone playing Minecraft. It's right, so it's changing. Or all these multiplayer games.
Yeah.
I mean, you remember like there was a time that people used to play linear games, story mode, 5 hours, finish it. It was just you were just going straight on a path. There was no options. Now it's not like that anymore. Things have changed.
Yeah, I think it's nowadays they like things that will allow them to build stuff.
Yes, I mean it's more creative. But look, I mean there was I don't know if you played Witcher 3.
The Witcher.
2015.
Oh no, but I watched the Netflix show.
Oh yeah, that was a good show. So Witcher 3 was my favorite game of all time. Or Bloodborne was my favorite, another favorite game. Or Dark Souls 3 was another one.
Call of Duty.
So these are unique. Huh?
Call of Duty.
What's that?
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty, well, yes, in the beginning, yes, but after some time it changed. Like I haven't played it after World War II. And World War II I played it because I worked on it. But after that I didn't work. Like it's changed. I'm not the same age as I used to be.
Oh
right?
yeah.
So,
Yeah,
and,
I mean, I guess when back then, you enjoyed just like killing and shooting people, but now it's a different type of thing for you. You rather do something a
yeah,
little
it's
bit more
different
creative.
now.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
hmm
go ahead.
Speaking of Call of Duty, I want to talk a little bit about that because you worked on that game, yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to know, and I'm sure some of the students want to know, how did the character creation process go for Call of Duty? Was a concept art given to you, and you had,
So I can't say this specifically for Call of Duty, but I can give a general idea because those are a studio information, right?
oh,
So I can't give those.
understandable.
But yeah, I can tell you, character creation. I actually have a video. I explain everything on it.
Okay.
So that might be a good one for people to watch. It's a very simple video. If you go to my YouTube channel,
Okay.
I try to explain everything. Basically, character. I'll send you a link so you can put it there. For
Okay,
people
I'll
to
put
watch.
it below on this
Yeah,
podcast here.
depends on the game. Yeah, you get. I mean, it's your general stuff. You get concept, and then you keep working. I start working on it. They will give you a schedule. Whatever the studio is, doesn't matter which studio you're working. Some studios are different. Some studios tell you to use references. Some studios tell you to use the concept. Then you work on the high res. Some studios outsource the low res, and you just depends on what your position is. And then you only take care of the artistic side, the sculpting, texturing, giving feedback.
Okay.
Sometimes you'll have to do the low res in-house. So, I mean,
I mean, before.
yeah, I mean, it's
Go ahead.
no, yeah, it's nothing really complicated. The whole, I think if people watch that video, it's better.
Okay, so.
Because I went in depth. Yeah, I
Right.
made 2 videos, like it's 30 minutes.
Okay, guys, so I'll put
And I
that
explain
link below.
exactly.
All right?
Yeah, it's better because I don't want to like.
Sure. Sure.
Just
you already
provide
talked.
a section of it.
You already talked about it. No problem. Let's save your breath. Okay.
Yes.
So I know that you worked somewhere else before working for Call of Duty for those kind of AAA
Ubisoft.
games.
I was
So
at-
you worked for Ubisoft, and before that you were modeling cars, right? Before even working. for
No,
all these
before that
AAA.
I was in a company in Florida. That's where I worked on Borderlands. It was an outsourced company. Before that, I was in Dubai and I was working on commercials, game cinematics.
Okay.
And it's funny because I wasn't planning to join the game industry.
Oh, yeah?
I was actually, I was more just into making stuff. That was my plan. I enjoyed making, working on visual effects, game cinematics, characters, whatever. That was what I enjoyed. The whole process was fun. And then I remember I was trying to immigrate, trying to move to another country, somewhere that I can be more free and expand and,
Right.
do other things and basically improve my life. And I was like, okay, so what should I do? I did some research and I realized if I want to do that, I should work in the game industry. I used to play games. I enjoyed playing games, but I wasn't sure. Am I going to enjoy working in the game industry? I don't know. So I was like, okay, let me do some research. It was Unreal Engine UDK, the first free Unreal Engine. It wasn't the full Unreal Engine free. That was I think it was it's UDK, something like that. I don't remember. This is like 2010.
It sounds familiar. I think I had that when I was going to college.
Yeah, so
UDK,
I used.
UDK,
Yeah, I think it was UDK. And then, so I tried it and I was like, okay, this is fun. It looks like I can make my own game or something. And I started doing stuff, did some experiment with making some assets for games. And then I started reaching to companies and then everyone rejected me. And then I actually had, 2012, I made a piece, a character, the guy with the mafia guy with the hat.
Can you show
Looks
that?
old now.
Do you have that? You still...
Yeah, if you go to my artist station,
Okay.
that one is still my favorite artwork. It doesn't look as good as the new artworks everyone is doing because it's old, 10 years old, right? I remember 2011, I went to a vacation in Thailand. Me and my wife, we went there. And then we came back. It was the end of 2011. I started working on it, and then I finished it by February or March 2012, something like that. And then I shared it. I got top rows, and then I got printed in books and stuff. I think I have the books here.
Nice. So that's when you really got exposed, and that's when the big companies started reaching out to you.
Yeah,
because
yeah,
of that.
yeah. And then I started working with plastic bags, making characters for cinematics. Then I worked with Real Time UK, making characters for cinematics.
Let me ask
And
you, was
then-
that a CG Talk website where you actually won like some kind of CG award for that piece that you were
I don't
talking
remember.
about?
Oh, yeah, this is, that's a long time ago. I don't remember.
Okay. But no problem. Yeah, man. You're making.
Yeah, it
you
was,
make...
I think it was this guy. Yeah, I think it was this mafia guy that I made. But I got it. Yeah, it was. I got it printed in Expose 11. I got the portrait of the year, something like that.
And how long
And
did
then-
it take for you to create that type of character?
This was just. I was just trying to learn. What is the process of rendering with mental ray. And how do I make more interesting a skin shader? At the time, it was hard. It wasn't easy.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was working in the office at that time, and then coming home, and then working on this one. Oh, damn! Reminds me a lot of hardships, to be honest, when I think about it, because I remember I was waking up at 3 a.m. in the morning to check the renders to see if it's working or not, and my computer was weak. Now with this machine I have, I can render it, have Premiere Pro open, render with anything, work in ZBrush, have 5 applications open at the same time. But yeah, it took like 3 months to because I was learning and working at the same time. It takes time to make a good artwork.
Oh, 3 months is not bad. I mean, you were
Yeah.
also working full time, right? At the same time,
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
home and still working on
Yeah.
that. How many
Yeah.
hours a day would you say that you were working on that particular piece?
So I'll tell you this, up until this one, I don't know how many hours I worked on it, but I remember I was working, I was waking up 6 a.m. and I was going to sleep 1 a.m. next day because I was going to work, coming home, working again. So I had like 5-6 hours of sleep. So that happened a lot actually. It's not just this one to push myself. I actually have a lot of artwork I didn't post it on my artist station. Like if I posted everything, because it's weird. Like when I do it, I don't like it after 2 months, and I'm like, it doesn't matter. Or I work for a client. I have a lot of prints I did, 3D prints and toys. I worked on a movie I didn't share. Oh, like a lot of stuff, a lot of cars, a lot of weapons.
So you were doing a lot of things, while you were working on this piece.
Well, I mean, I was working in a studio. I was working on this. Like, I'm just talking in general. Like, a lot of the things I made, I didn't post it on my artist station, on my website in general. And up until actually talking about working, how many hours? I think last year was the worst I have ever had because of working too much. Like because of YouTube, teaching, working on a game. So last year, sometimes I went to sleep when I felt like I'm about to pass out. Like I had a feeling of, I'm gonna die now. It's enough. I should just stop working.
That's good. Your body's telling you, hey, time to just relax. I guess I'm talking about the piece that got you the exposure. I'm more curious about how many hours would that take? I mean, I know that there are students out there.
It's not that piece. Yeah, it's not that piece. It's about how many hours do you spend before that to get to that piece. So everything I did before that gave me all the experience, knowledge, and all the things I needed to be able to make that.
Okay.
So it's like how many hours I don't know, but I know it took me like 6-7 years to get to that level at the time. and then it's all accumulates, right? You learn and you become. It's like asking someone who's playing piano, how long did it take for you to play this piece? To learn how to play this Chopin Nocturne number 2 or whatever.
Okay.
Well, I mean, if you ask a pianist, he'll tell you it took me 2 hours to learn it. But how many years of experience you have? 12 years. I started playing piano when I was a kid. That makes a difference, right?
Wow.
So the more you do it, the faster you can do it. So I don't know exactly how long that took, but it's about what you did before that.
Yeah, 6 to 7 years. I guess you must be working like hours each day, because some people can take 10 years, some people take more than that, way more than that, to get to that level.
Yeah, I think I started working as a CG, like learning CG, not working. 2002. There was no ZBrush, and then ZBrush came. I started using ZBrush, and then I started working freelance. I wasn't good at the time. This is just when I was 19, 20 years old, and I was trying to learn. One of the pieces I made was for I think it's not here. Not here. But it was the sculpture. Yeah, it's, I still have it.
You're looking for all your work behind you.
Yeah, there's one I have, but it's not in the room. I'm changing the room. So that was, I think 2007 I made that. It's the print of Zelda character. So I made it for a company. At the time, no one was doing printing. I actually started doing this 2005, making models for a sculpture for print. It's funny, like now everyone is printing, but I remember at the time when I was like, wow, I can do it, make it in ZBrush or Maya, and then someone can print it into a sculpture and then copy it and sell it.
Yeah. Now anybody could just print it on their own home. Everybody can just get a 3D printer. Everything's getting cheaper, even for 3D prints. So
yeah, that's the future also. That's another futuristic thing.
Yeah, man. Why go to Walmart and buy a spoon when you could print it out there in your own home, right?
Exactly.
Now, from your experience, right, the character artists that you've seen there, right, working in the industry, did they start out as a character artist right away for most of them, or should they start as a prop artist first? Is it better to start out as a prop artist? Is it easier that way, and then work your way up to getting a job that's more like a character artist, where it's kind of more difficult to get in there?
So a character artist, look, I'm making a summary now for my main course. A samurai is made of a lot of armors, right? Armor pieces. Each one of those armors are props. They're single objects, assets. So I can do that because I used to make cars back in 2008, 2009 for commercials.
Right.
Interior, exterior. It's the same principle. At the time when I started, there was nothing like character artist. It was 3D modeler. 2005, 6. There was no character artist. Whoever made the character also made the props for that character or other assets, So it's changed a bit. Now it's more specialized. Everyone is like, I'm a character sculptor. I make characters, and then someone else is like, I'm a character texture artist. I'm a specialized in texturing. I think that's one of the questions. Like, well, I mean, if you want to make a character, you need to know how to make props. Like, how do you know how can you make a shoulder armor as clean as possible, make it production ready? If you don't know how to make clean topology, if you don't know how to put proper edge loops and stuff, then you can't make a realistic armor.
Okay, so I guess if you have a high quality samurai in your portfolio, it shows that you're able to also create hard surface props. So if there's a company that's hiring prop artists, and we're like, okay, so we don't have a position right now.
Well,
for a
you don't want to go for a prop artist, right? So if you can make a samurai, high quality samurai, you don't want to accept an offer as a prop artist.
Okay. all right. But let's say that you do turn it in, and at a company, and then they see that you have a little potential for more of doing hard surface, but maybe the character, maybe the anatomy needs a little work. And maybe...
Well, I mean, then you should work as a hard surface artist, and then there's like a lot of hard surface artists. They're making good money, right? So that's another thing. I think So this is what I say. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
people understand the concept. It's just might be hard to express it. Um, so I always recommend to look forward, not backward. Like stop looking at the rear wheel mirror. You know, when you drive a car, you look forward, right? You don't look at the back.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you check it and move, and again, you know, look at the front. So if you're deciding to be a character artist, then focus on it and become a character artist and become as good as you can, and stick to your plan, and stick to your goals, stick to your like plan of how much you want to make, which position you want to work on, which company you want to work on. Sometimes you have to sacrifice. You know, when I started, I made chicken nuggets for commercials. I made cigarette packs. I made cars. All of those helped over time because, you know, this is the concept people don't understand. Majority don't understand. Mm-hmm. Because there's no proper education to teach them how this works. It's not just about art, it's about every profession. Mm-hmm. So imagine this, like when we are born in this world, we come as equals, right? Regardless of the situation, if someone is coming to a poor family, someone is coming to a rich family. When you're born, if you want to become I don't know, like a carpenter or a musician as a kid, you show some interest into becoming a carpenter. You play with wood and maybe buy a chisel, play with it. You know, your dad knows, okay, my kid wants to play with wood. Let me show him how to sculpt with wood or whatever. Mm-hmm. So you have to start on the bottom. You're not coming to this world having some knowledge of about carpenting or about music. There are some special cases. Kids come in and, you know, they learn how to play music faster because somehow their brain is like developed or familiarized with music in a way that, mm-hmm. you know, like they are pitch perfect. They can hear and understand every note naturally. That's something humans are we are missing is humans. It's changing in the past, like not in the past, but I mean, how do I say it? Like there are certain group of people that they become pitch perfect, and if you play a note, they can tell you which note this is. Mm-hmm. I'm not talking about those cases, right? But in general, we all start as equals, and we have to go through the same process, which is like we have to start in the rock bottom. We have to start, like I wanted to be a character artist. I had zero knowledge about art. I didn't know what is a character artist. So I started making whatever, anything. I made a box and I put a chamfer on it and I enjoyed it. And then I made a box and I put 2 chamfers on it. And then I realized, okay, if I extrude this, if I do that, I can turn it into a cigarette pack. Mm-hmm. And then I learned, okay, now I can make a pen maybe. Then I can make a car tire. Then maybe I can make a car. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a progress, right? You have to go through all of these steps to get to a level to become a character artist, okay. Right? So it's a necessary thing. People just jump in, they want to become a character artist. After a year, the guy gives up. He says, I'm not getting a job. It takes 5-10 years. It's not just like that. Okay, I'm going to get a job tomorrow. It's not about that. So, so what I'm saying is like, okay, if you jump in, if you're making a cigarette pack or if you're making chicken nuggets for commercials, use that to make money. There's nothing wrong with that. Use that to make money. But you shouldn't jump in and say, I want to work for Sony Santa Monica, work on God of War. Mm-hmm. You haven't made anything yet. It takes time to get there. You know what I mean? You have to give yourself time. You're actually setting yourself for failure, and then you can't get back up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Imagine if you want to go for parachute. If you don't know how to use a parachute, what happens when you jump from the plane? You want to say, I want to learn, I want to do parachutes. I can do it. I saw someone did it. Well, it takes 5 years to become a professional, you know, jumper when you go to planes.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. It's because the problem is with our industry, because people are not paying money to buy material to build the stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like woodworking. If you want to do woodworking, it's going to cost you like $20,000-$30,000 just to buy the equipment.
That's a
and
lot
then
of money.
It's a lot, like buying a proper table saw, buying proper planer, because you want to also be careful, like you don't buy something that, you know, cut your hand, you know, chop your fingers and stuff. So, and then if you want to make a chair, then you have to buy like $300-$400 of wood, and it's not actually a lot, you know. Or if you want to make a walnut coffee table, it's going to cost you $1,500 just to buy the lumber, right? But in our industry, the problem is it's easy. You just open ZBrush. There is unlimited amount of mod. You can just use it, without paying for it. You just pay for the application, and then you can do whatever you want. So people just, take it for granted, and then they don't understand. Okay, this is valuable. Like, it's unlimited resource. You can use it and improve it slowly, and then, get to the level that you can apply for bigger studios. But you have to go through the process. You have to start with the smallest stuff. You can't just become a character artist. So you have to learn to make something simple. When you, I remember when I was a kid, I used to go to a guy. He was teaching me how to do oil painting. The first thing he told me to draw was a cylinder, just a simple cylinder. And I'm like, I want to learn how to paint that. I was 12 years old, and he said, you have to draw this first. For 1 year, he pushed me to do that, like draw circles, boxes, and stuff. And then later on, I realized, okay, this is what it takes. Everything is just simplified to simple forms. Human face is simple forms. Props are simple forms. And then from there, you can actually add to it and make it more complicated, more interesting. So the idea is, okay, you have to choose your battle. You want to become a character artist, you want to become a hard surface artist, which one, right? And then on the hard surface side, I actually see a lot of my friends, they do concept design, hard surface design, product design. Someone is designing a muzzle brake for a gun, and he sells the product. Eden Grazio, he's an amazing artist.
Right.
He designs effective, realistic, real products that you can actually design the gun, I think, and I saw it on his website. So that's another way of doing it, right? Or you can design products, real products. You can actually design characters, robots for films and games.
Right.
Or you can say, I want to become a fantasy character artist. I don't care what I can do in real life. I just want to stick to the virtual world. So then you have to focus on that,
So you don't really necessarily have to work in the game industry right away. You could just
No. It's a mistake, in my opinion, to work in the game industry right away. Can anyone get into the, La Liga, becoming a football player, soccer player after a year of kicking the ball?
Probably not.
That's impossible. It's going to take years, many years, So yeah, this is in every profession. You have to start on the bottom. You have to go step by step. Maybe sometimes you can jump 2 steps. And you have to measure your reach, how far you can jump. You know what I mean? There's a limit on how far you can jump. If you stretch beyond that, then you're going to break your leg. It's the same thing with our industry. You want to jump, okay, so maybe instead of 2 hours, you can work 7 hours a day, 8 hours a day, 12 hours a day. Constantly experiment, go to seminars, take courses, apply for mentorships, go see someone, connect to professional artists, constantly analyze, watch videos. Do whatever you can to feed your brain constantly with as much information as possible. But you don't want to overdo that, because you have to also give time to your brain to basically breathe and have time to digest all the information you gave to your brain. Human brain works in a way that when you work during the day, you just collect information, experiment. Your brain is not actually processing all those information during the day. It happens when you sleep. That's why we sleep. We sleep, and then our brain is working. Your body shuts down. You're dreaming. Your eyes are not working. You don't hear anything. You don't feel anything. You're in hibernation mode, right? When you sleep, basically. So that's when your brain is creating new wiring, because brain is like, okay, I don't have to move your body anymore. I don't have to think about anything. Everything is on autopilot. Now let me take care of all the information you gave me during the day. I'm going to create a bunch of wiring, neural pathways. And the next day you wake up, feel like, okay, I can see the problems on this character I made. I need to work on that more. Or that actually happened to me when I play piano. I don't play it anymore these days because of being busy, but I need to get back to it. That's something I'm missing.
You do a lot. Some piano, you do some woodwork. Yeah. You're a really busy guy. My goodness.
This year I'm taking it easy because I'm trying to figure out what do I want to do in the future, long term. I'm half the way through life. I'm 36, so I'm like, okay, so what do I want to have when I'm 50 years old? Right. So that's what I'm thinking about now, planning for that.
Right.
You know, because I don't have to deal with the things that I had to deal with in the past, like immigration and all that. Like I achieved everything I dreamed when I was 18 years old. Now I'm like, okay, what do I want? It's funny. I'll tell you about that now. But yeah, that's how it works. Just remind me. I'll tell you about the dreaming and stuff. It's interesting. That's how it works. You can't jump 2 steps, or even you can sometimes, right? As I said, like if I go upstairs, I can maybe do 3 stairs at a time, 3 steps at a time. You know, if I stretch and jump, or 4 steps at a time.
How about maybe
but
some people, maybe they want to start working for Blizzard right away, or they want to work for Rockstar Studios right away.
That's
right?
not gonna happen.
And maybe they don't want to work for a for a small video game studio independent company that nobody heard of. Maybe
that's not gonna work.
They don't really they care about the money, because maybe it feels like it's not something that they will be able for them to provide for themselves if they work on a small company that's not going to pay them a lot, you know, or enough.
Yeah. So look, there's a difference. We have visionary people, we have dreamers. Dreamers always stay dreamers because they dream. Dreams never come true. Dreams are always dreams. Nothing that happens in your dreams comes to reality, because that's why we call it dreams. Visionary people are those who make a change. You have a vision for the future. How's the future? The future is, okay, this is how the industry is going to be. So I'm going to take these steps, prepare for the next 5 years so I can be relevant. That's a visionary, you know? If you don't do that, if you just say, okay, today I'm starting to become a character artist. In a year time, I want to work in Blizzard. You're not going to work in Blizzard in a year time. That's guaranteed almost. There are very, like a small number of people, they can make it like that. You have to be, it's very different, you know. Talent, I don't know if talent exists. I believe more in hard work and experimenting and testing and improving from your failures.
Right.
But if talent exists, there are some people that are unique. Maybe those, and it's a small number.
Yeah.
We don't have many other Einsteins. We don't have many Chopins or Mozarts or Beethovens. There is a reason, you know.
Yeah.
Those are special peoples.
Geniuses.
Special people, yeah, geniuses, or they're way above average. Da Vinci or Michelangelo.
Yeah.
Those guys, their art is still the best. No one can beat them yet, you know. Rodin and so many artists, right, from the past. So yeah, I mean, that's not going to work. You have to. It's a reality. Like, people don't want to deal with it. If you think you can work in Blizzard, it's a mistake.
Okay. So
Look, but the first money I made was $100. $100. Actually, before I make money from this, I was writing discs, for like backing up hard drives for people. This is 2004.
Yeah.
So
that even has nothing to do with 3D, right?
What's that?
That had nothing to do with 3D. You said you were doing some stuff with disc.
Yeah, like writing. You know, people had hard drives. I had a DVD writer.
Yeah.
And they wanted to back up their hard drives. They were coming to me, neighbors, and I was charging them some money, and then I was, you know, doing that, and then saving money to buy computer hardware, you know, graphics card to improve something, play games, or do my work. So that's how I started, you know. And now I make good money, but I'm like, this year I'm like, okay, so what can I do next year to improve my income, to improve my future, to improve my vision? That's what I'm thinking for the future. And I'm like, I work for a bunch of companies, but that's the past already. So what can I do now from here? You know, so there's nothing wrong working for companies. You can just work for them forever, and that's, if that's what you want. But you can't just jump in and say, I want to work for Blizzard in a year time. You know, that's going to set you for failure, a big failure. It's like saying, I want to become a YouTuber and make $1 million a month or $400,000 a month, because that guy is making $400,000 a month making YouTube videos. That guy worked for 10 years and now he's there, or she is there.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, today I'm going to make this much money.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. And it could be soul crushing if you're trying to go to Blizzard and then you don't get it. You know, you're like, okay, so maybe
because
it's not
people are polite.
Go ahead.
Yeah, people are trying to be polite. So you send them your portfolio. They either don't respond, or they will tell you, oh yeah, you have a promising future. Keep doing it. or at this point we can't move forward with your application. We went with someone else. They're not going to tell you. They're not going to come and mentor you and tell you, hey, this is bad. What you did here is you suck at what you do. You're not doing anything. You're not doing a good art. Why do you expect that? They don't tell you the truth, right? So that's why you need to be honest with yourself. You need to ask people that care about you. When I used to do art, I was calling my wife, what do you think? She was like, I don't like this one. Don't. Yeah, I mean, she was honest, right? But if I show it to a friend, yeah, it looks good. I'm like, is it? Yeah. But I'm like, okay, so can you give me feedback? They wouldn't, because they thought it's going to hurt me,
Yeah,
and it is. And you know what's interesting? If you get the false feedback, it's going to give you the false confidence.
Yeah.
You ask people, they tell you, okay, your work is good job, keep going. You post it on social media, it doesn't look good, they tell you it's good, and then you just have a false confidence. You think it's good, you don't know what's happening, and then you keep repeating the same mistakes, and then you apply. A professional artist or studio sees your work and they're like, this guy's not good, we're not going to hire him. And you don't know what's going on, you don't know why it's happening, you don't know why they're not coming back to you, because all you heard was, it's good, you're doing a good job, but in reality you're not doing a good job.
Or you get a lot of likes on Facebook and you feel good and you think it's good.
Yeah. The moment you feel like you're doing good, you're going to fail. That's the thing. The thing is, you know what happens to a tree when a tree has a lot of fruits on it?
What happened? Tell me.
It becomes heavier, right?
Yeah.
The branches of the tree falls down, right? Basically, the weight of the fruit pushes the tree down. It doesn't stand tall anymore. So that's the same thing with humanity. The more you know, the more you feel like heavy, the more you feel like, and it's hard to get to that point. There are a lot of philosophers and artists and musicians that they went there. Albert Einstein, mathematician and physicist. I mean, if you read the history is a good example, and history shows you what happens to those who think that they are good.
There's a term for this. Like, people who really think they're the best, usually they're incompetent, But there's a term for this, a psychology term for this. I forgot. It's Kruger or something? Yeah, I have to check that out.
I haven't heard.
But
yeah, that's the reality, right? I mean, and they don't know it. It's not like they're bad or, they're... I actually had to work with people like that. They're everywhere. Yeah. They're everywhere. That's how society works. Only a minority of people know exactly where they stand. That's why a small number, they grow so big, they get so rich, they become so good at what they do. Money is not necessarily a good way to measure success or becoming, like, seeing someone, depends on what you do, right? Like Elon Musk is doing something. I like Elon Musk and his vision and stuff. He does the stupidest stuff sometimes, but I don't care, because he's doing something that I enjoy, like rockets and science and electric cars and things like that. So, I mean,
you think he's gonna take us to Mars?
Yes, we'll see it. We'll see it. I'm pretty sure
in our lifetime. You think it'll happen in our lifetime?
In the next, I think in the next 20 years we'll see humans on Mars, like direct communication every day.
All right. Okay.
I read a lot about that, by the way, so that's why I'm like, yeah, this is going to. He says that too, so I trust him. Like, he did the space, not him, obviously, it's SpaceX. They're doing an amazing job, and it comes from hard work. It doesn't come from nothing. I think those people can be example for artists, because no matter what you do, if you follow the same type of people, like the footsteps, just look at them, what they did, copy the same thing, Copy the same thing.
Yeah, Elon Musk, he hadn't really had the best childhood either, if you read about him.
Yeah.
But he was, like, emotionally abused by his dad, and dad telling him that he's really never going to make it. And he even got bullied when he was going to school, where the kids would, like, hit him and he would fall down the stairs and had to be taken to the hospital. So I guess those, if you experience that, you feel like you have something to prove to the world. And
that's a reality. Like, I was bullied when I was a kid up to a point, and then when I grew up, for some reason I wasn't growing, and then at some point I just became tall and strong out of nowhere, like in a year time.
What's your height? What's your height? What's your height?
6'1".
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah, and then the bully changed. But after that, I was like, okay, my future is going to be different. That's what I decided. And it's interesting you said that because so I wanted to tell you this. My dream was to move to US. My dream was to marry to someone good. My dream was to buy a house, live a normal life. But I always, in the back of my mind, I had this dream of starting something like a business or,
Right.
Do something different, right? And I still have that. I'm trying this year to decide what do I want to do next, because I have some ideas. One of them is not 3D, it's something different. But I'm like, okay, if I do that, then it's going to consume my time. I won't be able to do much art. So I'm still debating what should I do. But yeah, I have, when you said, when I grew up, I had to, figure out how to get out of Iran. And then I moved to Dubai. I had to deal with a lot of really bad times there. And then things became good. I only remember the good memories. The bad times, it's fine. They're just experience, right?
Yeah. That's good for you that you remember the really good times.
Yeah. I mean, for some reason, bad times fade away. Yeah, you become more cautious about people or different conditions and situation. But overall, I'm not a guy to keep grudge. I worked in studios that someone called me a terrorist as an example. Yeah, I blew up on the guy. I was like, yeah, that's not good. So it was a very hard conversation. And but I don't care now. I'm like, okay, it's gone. He learned his lessons, and I moved on.
Yeah, what I like about you, you always think what's next. You're always looking into the future.
That's sometimes. Well, it's hard, right? This is something. It's hard. It's hard to do it because I sometimes look at the past. I'm like, I did that. Sometimes it takes like years to get over stuff, but eventually, after some time, I only remember the good memories, or the things that I learned. But yeah, I mean, when I moved, so I had a lot of dreams, and now I have bigger dreams. And I was telling you, like, I worked in a bunch of companies, right? And then I'm like, is this the end of it? Do I have to just do this? That's it? Or can I just, do something different? What can I do as a human being? Especially like 3 weeks ago, I don't know, I told you, like, I had near death, almost died.
Yeah.
I didn't die, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna die. This is the end of it. I said bye to my wife and everything. It was just like, I'm ready to die. I was counting from 1 to 10. It was weird. And that point, I was like, okay, so now that I'm dying, what could I do with my life? And I said, wow, I have so many ideas. I never even tried them. I never even executed on these ideas. So what should I do next? And I said, okay, so if I move out, if I stay alive, I'm gonna do something. I don't care if it's going to work or not. It's just a matter of trying. And then I realized that's how I actually did the art. There are a lot of people that they want to do character art, work in the game industry, move to the United States, but not everyone is getting that chance. Only a small number. But then I looked, I'm like, okay, so I actually did it in a very strategic way, and then I was able to get to where I am, and achieve all the things that I dreamed at the time. It's a small dream, to be honest with you. Like, for me, it was big at the time, right? I want to work in the game industry. I want to make characters for games. It's relatively a small dream. Like, if you tell this to someone who works at, a financial firm, like, I don't know, Fidelity or Vanguard, they'll say, oh, you play games? Okay. They don't care, it doesn't matter. We don't change the world. It's more like a personal vision, personal goal. It's more. So I was like, okay, so I need to actually think about something bigger than myself. Last year I started thinking about thinking bigger than myself. That's why I started teaching.
But what happened to you?
Now,
I guess what happened to you like last week with the the COVID thing give you more of a sense of urgency, right?
It gave me a sense that, okay, now I need to be very careful. I have maybe 1 or 2 shots at this, and I have to execute it right. Like, I have to choose my next step really carefully. But I also want to try different things. I don't want to just, leave this world without trying. So so then I need to stop thinking. I need to just, when I say thinking, I don't mean like stop thinking. I mean stop being picky and choose my battles. What do I want to do next? You know what I mean? So that's why I gave myself time until end of this year to basically plan for my next move. I have ideas. I wanted to always make a game. Maybe I'll work on that. Another one is start a school, academy with Edgeloop because I helped a bunch of, like I had several students, I helped them this year. They're getting good results. So I can see that I can guide people to give them real vision, empower them instead of telling them that you're an artist, you shouldn't make enough money. You should make 50,000, 40,000. No, I mean, there's no limits. You can make as much as you want.
Right.
That's the mistake that people make. They think I wasn't in year one. So, I mean.
Speaking of how much artists should earn, when applying for a job, I mean, how should artists determine their value? Like, how will they know if they should be charging?
They need to research the market. Artists don't do that. That's a mistake. They need to research the market. They need to go around, ask people, how much do you make? That's fine. Sometimes people look at you and roll their eyes. So what? I mean, you can't just sit there and do art and expect that everyone is going to be nice to you and give you everything. This is a war. You know, we live in a world, everyone is thinking about themselves. Not everyone is like really after to help you. You know what I mean? Especially when it comes to business. Business, it's been like that forever. When you work for a studio, you have to do what they tell you to do. So you also need to learn. Obviously, you're not going to get paid if you don't do anything. You have to learn to come up with a way to give them what they want and show them why you deserve more. Do the best you can, you know, improve the quality of the work. And maybe it's not going to work with the first studio. Maybe it's not going to work with the second one. You just learn more and more. You don't have to work with one studio. I changed my job many times because I didn't like, not like, but I realized, okay, this is, you realize after a year or two that this is not for you. This is not what you envisioned. This is not what you plan to do. And you don't have to commit to anything. You just, because you don't know what the future is, right? You work for a studio, they're good for 2 years, and then you realize, okay, it's changing, management changed, the direction has changed. They're not, you know, improving my salary. They're not doing this. So it's time to move on. So experience, you need to learn more. You need to read more. You need to research more. And no one can tell you how much you should make, you know. But one thing I know is you can't go to an interview and tell the recruiter, pay me whatever you want. I don't care about the money. I have heard that many times, and I'm like, every time I'm like, why do you say that? Companies are working for money. Companies are doing this because, you know, a big company it's a public company, right? If a company is like $40 billion market cap value, it means like real businessmen in Wall Street are buying the stocks of this company. They're investing in this company. They expect returns. They want to fill their pocket with the dollar bill. That's what they are after. They don't care how happy you are or how much fun you have at work. It's none of their business. An investor doesn't see what's happening in an office, right? So it's your duty to value your work and research and know exactly how much you should charge. You know, you can't just go in and say, okay, yeah, whatever. I really love your game. I just want to be part of this company. That's all I dream about. That's a mistake. And there's a chance that you're not going to get hired because of saying that line. I have heard that, and people don't get rejected. That's a sign of lack of experience. Because the reality hurts. When you work in a studio, it's not fun all the time. If you say, I love working for your studio, and no matter what, I just want to work here, it means you're not experienced. So the guy who is hiring you thinks, okay, so this guy is so emotional. If he comes to my studio, he doesn't want to negotiate for his salary. He just want to be here. That's it. What if I give him to make a pen for the entire project? Is he going to be happy? Maybe that's what I want to give him, right? Maybe the production only wants this guy to make only low-res armor pads, whatever. So, I mean, the realistic view is you have to learn the business side and get in with the vision that this is a project that I'm going to participate in it. and they're going to give me feedback. I'm not going to make my own art. They're going to pay me, and I'm going to help them make money. You know, it's not about you. It's about everyone is working to finish that project.
Okay.
So if you understand the subject, if you can say, okay, yes, I understand what you want, I can help you with that. I can help you with more. I can do this. I can do that. You know, then you get the job. You tell them how much you want. You negotiate. But here's the thing. There are two things. One of them is you shouldn't tell a recruiter how much. You shouldn't ever say that, okay, I'm okay with whatever you pay me. That's a mistake. And also, when you drop a number, they are not going to tell you, we don't want you anymore. If they tell you that we don't want you anymore, then you don't want to work with that company. Usually, it's like this. Okay, so how much do you want? I'm senior. I want $150,000 a year. Well, that's a bit out of our budget. What is your budget? What is your range? This is our range. Okay, so I see where you're coming from, but have you considered these things? This is my experience. I can do these kind of things. I think it's going to be an investment for your company. I'm going to help you grow this area and area, whatever. And they're going to negotiate, right? If they say, okay, this is something we can't change, you can say, okay, so what if we, what about if we do the interview? I can come for the interview. You guys can see me. We can discuss it more. If it worked for you, then you give me the opportunity. I'll come join you guys, and we'll settle on a price that works for both of us. You know, instead of saying, yeah, just give me anything, I'll just join you guys. That's it. I'm happy, you know?
Yeah, it's like it says a lot about their personality and what they will be doing if they work for that company, just by the way they go about when they are asked about what salary.
Yeah.
Yeah, says a lot about them.
Because
right?
obviously everyone makes that mistake. I made that mistake early in my career. They said, how much do you want? I don't know. I never worked in a big company.
Right.
Okay, what if we give you $60,000? Okay, I will accept it. And then I regret my decision. That's how it is. But I evolved, right? I worked in a company. I didn't get paid as much as I expected. And then I moved on. Next job. How much do you want? Well, I did some research. The city is like this. If I move here, this is how much I want. It's funny because one company I said, oh, this is how much I want. They actually gave me $15,000 more. This was earlier in my career because they calculated if I go there with that money, that was the mistake, right? I couldn't live. So, and there I learned, okay, I need to research. I need to go on Google, research the cost of living. And early on, this is what matters, right? Because you're not professional, experienced. You don't have, you know, your portfolio could be like, many people could replace you easily and so on. So in that case, well, you just go with whatever you can until you learn, right?
Yeah.
But you can't always be like, yeah, I'm an artist. No one is paying me this much. No one is paying me this salary that I expect. Well, maybe you're not offering them anything. Why should I pay you this much?
Okay.
You know, what can you do for me if I pay you this much?
Those are really good tips there for interviews.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, because I experienced it, right? There was a company, when I worked for them, they actually, I did everything, like the best thing I could do. I worked hard, some weekends and stuff. And then, you know, later on, I worked with them again, but with a lot more money, because they knew that I can do what I promised I can do it, you know?
Yeah, they already know that you could get the job done. You know, they work with you.
Yeah, so you have to prove that, right? You have to prove that because it's like you're buying a product. If you buy a car, you buy this car, and then you realize, okay, it's a good car. Next time you go to the same brand, maybe because you trust this brand. Your name is a brand.
Yes. Brand building, very, very important.
Yeah.
So, I'm about to go, but yeah, I'm getting hungry.
That's good.
I didn't know we were gonna be this long, but lots.
How long is it?
Let me look at the recording. But yeah, it's like 1 hour and 8 minutes recording.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I usually talk for 2 hours.
Yeah, I usually eat at like around 7:30, but it's okay. I do have one more question though before we wrap this up. Okay.
Before we take off.
How do you define victory? And it could be something that you have experienced in life already, or something that you look forward to in the future that will make it a victory. What makes someone, or what will make you victorious in your life?
Victory comes from the little things. Okay, so it's a bit philosophical too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't. I mean, depends on what you want to call a victory, right? I mean, a football match, if the team wins, that's a victory, right? But for an artist, for me, is more like daily basis. Like, am I not just an artist, anything, a business or whatever? Today, if I'm better than yesterday, if my thoughts are stronger, if I have more experience, if I understand more, if I'm more educated a tiny bit, that's victory. Because the accumulation of all these little things, small things that you learn every day, 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, it's going to make a huge difference. Like I said, like you asked, how long did it take for me to make that art?
Mm-hmm.
It took me 7 years. If I answer the real answer, because it's the accumulation of the small things. Victory is being patient. Victory is being patient and looking into the future and taking it day by day. So make your tomorrow 1% or 0.1%, 0.1% better next day, and then again do that the same thing next day. So that increases your performance like 36%. In 3 years, you're gonna improve 100%. In 6 years, you're gonna improve like a lot more because it accumulates on top of that, right? It's a compound effect basically.
Oh, I like that.
The compounding, yeah, that's how it works. This is how everything works: investing, business, acquiring a skill. Look, I'm doing woodworking now. The first thing I made was a cutting board. Second thing I made was a chair. The third thing I made, I was trying to make a tray. I found a bunch of mistakes. I'm like, okay, so I need to cut it like this. I'm making a door for my backyard now for the fourth piece. And the door was heavy, so I was like, okay, so the joints, it's something called butt joints. You just put two pieces of wood together like this, and then you drill, you put some screws on the top so it doesn't move. And then I realized, okay, I could just do some, I could do it in a different way. Instead of butt joints, I could do dado joints or rabbit joints, the woodworking. I don't know what else, how else I can explain it, but I thought if I do it in a different way, it's going to be stronger. So next time, I'm going to try that, right? It all accumulates. 10 years from now, I'm going to be a professional woodworker. Same thing with music. I started playing piano. First thing, I couldn't even play two hands. Then after 2 years, slowly improving every day. So that's victory.
Right.
Victory is like being patient and slowly looking into the future, but also taking it day by day.
I like that. An accumulation of little small knowledge that you get every day that will build you up as a person. All right, thank you very much for being here. A lot of wisdom. So really, when I see your beard now, I just think of the word wisdom when I look at your beard. That's what I think of. Right?
That's too much for me. I don't know. There's wisdom.
All right. Thank you very much once again, and
thank you.
I hope you have a good night, and
you too.
I'm definitely gonna have this up probably next month. All right, I'll email you. All right.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.